right, everybody, welcome back into cherry picking. Today's video, looking at the Fantasy Hockey Mailbag for Week 18. In the midst of Week 18, before a big week next week where there's a ton of games and a ton of players, but we're also nearing the trade deadline in the NHL and your fantasy hockey leagues as well. So this is a great mailbag we've got today. Definitely a lot of really good questions and important trending questions as well. I think we've got 6 or 7 to go through today. Let's get into the video. All right, so the first question we have here, are you still hot on Gustav Nyquist? Seems to have slowed down. So I was definitely hot on Nyquist throughout this season, to be honest, and still I wouldn't say I'm out on him at this point. If you look at him near the beginning of the season, he definitely wasn't drafted. He was like less than 10% rostered for, I would say, the full first half of the season, but he really started to pick it up when he was put on the line with Filip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, and really hasn't been moved off that line since then. But as of recently, the Predators just in general have not been very good, especially offensively. They're 3-7 their last 10 games as well, losing a close one in the New Jersey Devils just the other night. Nyquist is 4 points in his last 6 games, 6 points in his last 11 games now. But if you're looking at that top line, it's pretty much same across the board for Forsberg and O'Reilly. O'Reilly did score against the New Jersey Devils, but still, they're definitely not on a point per game basis right now over the last 10 games. I wouldn't necessarily give up on Nyquist just yet. I will say I did see he barely played in that third period against the Devils as well. So maybe that's telling that Brunette will start to make some changes with these lines, considering how poorly they've been recently too. The Preds still a top 7 team offensively in my books. You know, top 7 expected goals for this season, create a ton of chances and high danger chances at that as well. So I think they'll continue to create a lot of offense. It just depends where Nyquist kind of finds himself after maybe this switch up that Andrew Brunette is going to do. Because I think Nyquist had like 1 or 2 shifts in that third period. So that's definitely not going to keep him fantasy relevant if he stays on that track. So at this point, it's still a wait and see. But if he gets moved off that first line, I think he's worth a drop for sure. All right, the next question is from my must-add video earlier this week for Week 18. How about Shane Pinto? So yeah, I'll be honest, this is just a miss from me, to be honest. I didn't realize how well he had been playing for this Senators team. You know, you're always continue to think about those top 6 guys. But regardless, we stay transparent here. I didn't see this, so that's a miss. But I would definitely look to add Shane Pinto at this point. Look at his 8 games he's played, or his last 8 games. Pinto has 8 points and has been terrific. I think he has 3 goals and 5 assists over that span as well. He's playing on the third line with Ridley Greig and Vladimir Tarasenko. And since coming back to the lineup, he's 3rd in expected goals for, 2nd in scoring chances, and 2nd in high danger scoring chances as well. So to be honest, since coming back, only Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk have been better, and not even by that wide of a margin. So Shane Pinto at this point, if you can still add him, I definitely would. All right, the next question is a rankings question. How would you rank Matheson, Morrissey, and Rasmus Dahlin for the rest of the season? He's put his league stats here: 2 points for a goal, 1 for an assist, half a point for a power play point, and you can read the rest there. This one is a little bit tougher, maybe if you're looking at the last 2 spots, but Rasmus Dahlin, first and foremost, top of this 3-man list, if you want to call it that. He's been, if not the best goal scorer amongst defensemen this season. I know Uyghur just surpassed him in goals for defensemen this year because of a hat trick he scored recently, but I still think Rasmus Dahlin is first out of these 3 players. And then I would go Josh Morrissey. Morrissey's expected goals for, he's top 4 this season amongst defensemen in expected goals for, creating a lot of high danger scoring chances as well. Matheson does the same, but I just think on a Jets team that's going to be able to score a little bit more down the stretch, have a little bit of an easier schedule as well, I think you would rely on him a little bit more as well. So it's not too difficult of a conversation. I think Matheson has still been fantastic this year. And you know, I think Montreal would be not dumb, but bad to move him at this point, because I think he's going to be a guy that will be able to lead this team for the next couple of years as well. So finally, Rasmus Dahlin, Josh Morrissey, and Michael Matheson. That's how I'm rating these for the rest of the season. All right, the next question we got here, another topic is interesting to discuss next week, is Elias Lindholm's fantasy value now that he is a Vancouver Canuck. So yes, Elias Lindholm, for these who don't know, I'm sure you do know, but got moved to the Vancouver Canucks for Andrei Kuzmenko, Hunter Brodschwitz, who's apparently a stud in the OHL, along with another Finnish defenseman prospect, and then a couple picks as well. But Lindholm now a Vancouver Canuck. So for right now, I'd say Lindholm is definitely viable, fantasy hockey relevant, if you want to case that. He got that nice shooting percentage boost that every other Vancouver Canuck that plays in the top 6 gets when they start to join this team, or at least this season. But you see that in the first game, to be honest. He scored 2 goals. Both of them were tip-ins from him in front of the net. on the power play. So obviously good positions to be in, but he's not going to score every game like that. Since then, he also just has 1 assist in their most recent game he got against the Blackhawks as well. So just a thing to keep an eye on. Through 5 games, his 3 points with a 23% shooting percentage. Now, all the top guys on this Vancouver team for pretty much the entire season, maybe it's dropped off a little bit now, have been right around the 20% mark in terms of shooting percentage on how frequently they score on their shots. It's something I said all year, but this is uncharted territory for Lindholm, because with the Flames, his shooting percentage was 6%. Now he's at 22%. So obviously, I think he's going to find a nice middle in there, maybe around like 12 or 13, which will still keep him more fantasy relevant than he was when he was on the Calgary Flames. But as long as he stays on that line with Elias Peterson, I think you could definitely hold him. He's 78% rostered, so it's not like he's really available in a ton of leagues right now, if any. But if something changes and he starts centering his own line, then things will change. You got to start asking the question again and see kind of where he fits. Because after the top 6, it's really hard to keep all the different mouths fed on this Vancouver Canucks offense. All right, the next question, would you add Monahan over Vilardi? So another trade has happened. Sean Monahan got traded to the Winnipeg Jets from the Montreal Canadiens for a first-round pick. So Monahan has 3 games under his belt as a Jet. When this video goes out, we'll have another game of sample when the Jets play the Sharks to evaluate. But Monahan through the first 3 games has despite not having a point, I think there's some promising numbers to look at here. He's 3rd in expected goals for on the team through his first 3 games. His 6 shots, 20 face-off wins. He's winning face-offs at a 55% rate since being a Winnipeg Jet. So no points to show for it, but still encouraging numbers there. And now Monahan is centering a line with Cole Perfetti and Gabriel Vilardi. Before, it was Perfetti and Ehlers, but Vilardi has moved onto this line recently. And to be honest, Vilardi has done fuck all over his last 5 or 6 games. He's done nothing. So maybe getting moved onto this line with Monahan maybe helps him, but he's pointless in his 5 games. And it's just 3 shots to show for it as well. Both of the guys are on the first power play as of right now. But at this point, because of the extra things Monahan does in terms of, maybe getting a few more hits or blocking shots, the face-offs as well is very key if you're in categories leagues or bangers leagues. He is the better ad right now. If you asked me this question like 2 months ago, Vilardi 100% because he was red hot. If Vilardi can find that scoring touch again, could definitely edge him over Monahan, but they're both less than 25% rostered. So I think Monahan is the better pickup right now. All right, and the last question we have for this mailbag, what should I do with Timo Meier? Hold or drop? So really interesting question here to see that people are considering dropping Meier now. Obviously, I know it's been really frustrating to hold some of these Devils players while they go through all these injuries, but if you look at the last few games, he's looked different and he's played different. Now he's on a line. They certainly switched up these lines, but he's now on a line with Dawson Mercer and Curtis Lazar on the 3rd line. But maybe this is a good thing for him because this line has actually been insane. This line hasn't been together for all that long, but the offense that they're creating, the volume of offense that they're creating when they're on the ice is astounding. Now, granted, they've only played 30 minutes together, but they have an expected goals for percentage of 88%. That is nuts. That is by far top in the NHL now, 30 minutes. If you're looking at lines that have played over 100 minutes. I believe the line with the highest expected goals for percentage is about 72 or 73%. If you look on Money Puck, and I believe it's Natchez' line on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, Meier's stats, they don't only look good on paper in terms of analytics. Meier has a goal, 3 points, and 12 shots in his last 5 games. The team is back, fully healthy almost, other than like Dougie Hamilton and a couple defensemen, but forwards-wise, pretty much all back. Definitely hold on to Meier. You might see his best part of his season from now until the end of April. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of the Fantasy Hockey Mailbag for Week 18. Be sure to drop those comments below so I can get to your questions in the next mailbag. Be sure to like and subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.